Hey guys, how we doing? We are live, all the way live. Welcome to Faith, Favor, and Finance Show. I'm your host. It's your girl, Sherri Somers, your revenue master life coach. I'm so excited for you guys being here today. Come on in, come on in. If you are tuning in from YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell so you know and be notified when I get on here. Every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we bring you valuable information to break your limited belief system and build financial confidence through marketing strategies that can increase your earning power. I'm so excited as you come on in here. Tell us who you are. If you're tuning in from Faith, Favor, and Finance, go ahead and let us know who you are and what you do, just in case somebody in here is looking for your service. I'm so excited because today we're going to talk about 3 ways to validate your value proposition in the business space, right? We're going to talk about 3 ways to validate your value proposition. We're going to talk about what is value proposition, what is it, what does it look like. I'm excited. Let's go. Let's get it in. I see Jacinthia is in the house. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stella's in here. Thank you for tuning in. If you can hear me, give me a 1 in the chat to make sure that you can hear me. I'm going to also test it here to make sure that we're good to go here as well, to make sure that you guys can hear me. So I can go ahead and give me a 1 inside the chat. So make sure that you can hear me. All right, so we're going to go ahead. Okay, so go ahead and tell me if you can hear me. You can hear me. All right, go ahead right now. I have a e-learning child that is home, and he waits till I get on to tell me he needs something. That's part of being in part of e-learning. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and I want to talk about what is value proposition. And value proposition is when you are when you have a business and you are showing your brand as something that is different from everyone else that is in the same industry as you, right? Your brand is you have other people that are doing the same thing that you do, but you have something that makes you unique. They have something that makes you stand out. Let me adjust my camera. You have something that makes you stand out more than anyone else inside of your business. And that is value proposition. So with that being said, when you say, Jacinthia says she does credit repair. Now, if you do credit repair, perfect example, there may be other people that does credit repair. So the question is, what makes her business stand out? And that is what we're going to talk about, your value proposition. Because when you have value proposition in your business, it will make your business become more aware and based on the people who like your business. So that's why you see sometimes you may have another business that may have be more expensive, but people are going there because of their value proposition. So what you want to do is a promise that you make to your company, a promise that you made to your clients, your prospect clients who want to work with you, that you definitely will fulfill. I'm going to give you an example. Burger King say, have it your way, right? No matter what you want, Burger King will deliver, right? There's a shoe company called Zaspi and Zaspo. And one thing they recommend is that you get your shoe the next day or it's free. So their value proposition is how they deliver their products to you. Their value proposition is also how your value proposition is also how you're going to deal with your clients. I love it. I see people are coming here in the chat. As financial literacy, I see that virtual assistant. I love it. I love it. I love it. So everyone who is listening to me under the sound of my voice have some type of service that you offer. Now, here's my question for you. How are you standing out? How is your business different from any other business? Jacinta, if someone, I'm gonna use you as an example. If someone say, yes, I've tried credit repair before and they never did anything with my company. They didn't do a good job, or or Stella, if someone says, hey, I've tried virtual assistants and they never do a good job, how are you making sure that your company can overcompensate? I am in the life insurance business, and there's so many sometimes negative things when it comes to life insurance, financial advisor or life insurance agent. So we have to, as a life insurance agent, we aim for changing the mindset and changing the belief system when it comes to doing business with integrity, when it comes to doing business with about building wealth. So the first thing that I did when I came into this industry of life insurance, I made sure that the conversations, number one, 3 ways to validate your value proposition. Number one, I changed the conversation of however someone had felt about working with a life insurance agent. I changed the conversation based on the way my messaging, based on the way my brand is set up. It has to be in alignment with one of the net positive, nothing negative when it comes to life insurance, or changing how the life insurance industry is always about wealth versus always about death versus always about wealth. So I had to change a conversation that I was going to have on my platform regarding life insurance to make it something positive to where you have living benefits that you can help your clients. So before then, prior to me getting on this platform, I didn't hear much people talk about living benefits or using life insurance as a vehicle to create wealth. We know life insurance from a death benefit perspective, but I had to gather my team and say, listen, we want to talk about why you're alive. We want to talk about your now. So I had to, number one, change the conversation. So my value proposition, as an example, is how I have conversation with my clients. Another thing that I love to do is I love to show them all the things that are on the table, because not because I think it's a good idea for you to go with this thing. They may think something different, right? Because it's not always all about price. Some people will pay more just for better customer service. So how are you creating a value proposition for your business? How are you with everybody else that may have do what you're doing, or you feel like the market, when people say the market is saturated, that is because they have not identified their value proposition in the marketplace. Right? And I don't know if you guys have this store, but we have Publix and we all have Winn-Dixie. I love shopping at Publix. Don't get me wrong. Publix groceries are more expensive than Winn-Dixie or Walmart. But the customer service that I get when I go to Publix is just, oh, ma'am, do you want paper or plastic? Do you want me to walk you to your car? Right? And there's always somebody that can help me when I go to Publix. Their food is more fresh, the watermelon is juicier, and there's always somebody around to help me. Yes, I know I paid for that, and I love it. The customer service there is, and the place is always clean. I can always rely on them to be clean. Same grocery store, but their value proposition is presenting better customer service. Not to mention their staff has bonuses and retirement that is amazing. But the point here is I rather pay more for better customer service. So I really want you to understand that identifying your value proposition, right, is so important. So how do we identify validate our value proposition? How do we validate it? How do we say, yeah, this is what we do, right? One of the things we validate our value proposition, number one, is being able to make sure your messaging should be following what you're doing. So for instance, I put up a post yesterday, and I took my post back down on my personal page because it wasn't in alignment with the clients I serve when it comes to life insurance, right? So it wasn't in alignment with the promise and the message that I'm making for my clients. Thank you, Stella, for that. She said unique value proposition messaging should be in alignment and change your conversation, showcase all the options. Very good. So it was not in alignment with what I have. So when you are in the financial space, and there's a lot of people in the financial space, how do you make sure your financial industry is standing out in the marketplace? How do you make sure your coaching industry is standing out in the marketplace, especially when everyone is online and everyone is using the internet? How do you make sure you're standing out? So number one, I'm going to go over there and help how you validate your value proposition. So in the beginning, I was telling you what is value proposition, and now I'm telling you how you validate it. So now you validate it as number one is you got to create it first. What is it? What does it look like? And value proposition may be sometimes things that you can't see. Sometimes it may be whenever you get a new client that you call them to make sure that when they come on board that they're welcome on board, or you give them a free gift whenever they come on board, or something in that nature. But the client experience may be different than anyone else that's doing it in the industry. So find your unique gem that you do, but you got to create it first. And when you create it, everyone on your team need to know what that value proposition is. What does it look like? What is your promise that you can make to your clients? So number one, you have to create it. Number two, when you create it and you have transferred that information to everyone that works on your team, after you transfer that value proposition, again, if you're just joining me, we're teaching you how to validate your value proposition, because that's what makes you stand out among your competitors or among people who are doing actually what you're doing. So now that your team is aware, and even if it's me for me, I call it one-on-one. Even if you're the only person in your team, when I say your team, you already know what I mean. Your family members, your friends, whoever know about your business. When you do that, when you create that, and that's up like your mission or your vision for your business, now you need to use marketing. Number two, use marketing strategy that is conducive with your message and your promise. So if you promise something, like say you're in the hair business or something, or in the financial business, you says you're going to get back this to the person within 24 hours. But yet I have a lady that I call for some insurance, health insurance, and for a client, and I called around 8:30, and it was around 5:30, 6 o'clock that I was going to call back. And I was like, listen, I already got what I wanted, right? But her recording says she will get back within 24 hours. I'm sorry, within 2 hours, she'll make sure she return my call. 2 hours, baby. 2 hours was past gone. So her promise that she says about her business versus what she was doing is not in alignment. So we got to make sure that whatever we're promising, number one, we create it. We make sure everyone in our community knows what our value proposition is. And number two, our brand and our marketing. When we post on social media, we let social media know what our value proposition, what you will do. We'll deliver. I was speaking somewhere and I had to get things ready, and this lady, she was making sure I get my hair done, and she was doing all this stuff, and she said, Sherri, it will be there at your hotel before you hit the stage, right? I promise you, it will be there before you even get to the hotel. And I'm like, Lord, her business is promising this, because that's what she advertised. She advertised that it would get there on time, and it did. And I love it, because guess what that did? That made me want to keep working with her. That made me want to hire from her again, because her word was her bond, right? Her word was her bond. And I think that is so vital, and that is so important. So when you're branding, make sure your company knows your logo, your infograph. Infographs are beautiful, amazing. Make sure you get with a designer, and your designer can create an infograph. That's something that you can post on social media, post on Instagram, what your value proposition is, right? And it's going to be different for every single person under the sound of my voice. But you have to have a value proposition, because that's what makes you stand out. Now, there's some businesses that are doing the same thing, but one may be more high end than the other. One may be, keeping it low key than the other. So it doesn't matter, but whatever it is, you need to be consistent, which is number three. Number three, whatever your promise is, it needs to be consistent across the board. One of the hardest thing is you working with someone and they are so good and they are so awesome. You recommend them to someone else and the person don't have the same experience. You're like, what are you talking about? I had a great experience with this person. And it's like, no, they want to return my phone call. They say it will be delivered here. They say the program is this. They didn't check check up on us. The communication was bad. So it's so important that whatever your value proposition is consistent throughout the board. It literally consistent. I have someone that I hire just to call people when they're doing onboarding process with me inside of my revenue attraction coaching. Her sole job is to call my newcomers online to make sure that at no given time they're lost or not knowing what they're supposed to be doing. So it's so important, and it's important that you validate your promise and your message being in alignment. So don't overpromise if you know you can't deliver. Hello. Give me a 3 in the chat if you understand what I'm about to say. Don't overpromise, because then that will get you in a situation. Another thing too is don't faith over finance. Yeah, I know that already with me, right? So if someone says, hey, I need A, B, C, and D, and you know you can't give them A, B, C, and D, do not go any further. Say, I can give you A, I can give you B, but you may need to go to C. Go here to go get C. Because and especially if you don't have the capacity or the manpower to deliver what you promise. So now what happened is your value proposition rates start decreasing, and you don't want your value proposition rate to start decreasing. So that is so important. Now, here's what I want to ask you. What is your value proposition that you have in your business? What makes your business stand out among your competitors? Really quick, really fast, drop it in the comments. What makes your business stand out? What makes it unique? What makes it different? What do you do that's different that your competitors are not doing? And sometimes if you're saying that, Sherri, I'm struggling in that area. I'm struggling and trying to figure out how I create, or how do I create the message of what my value proposition is. How do I create that? Stella said, validate your value proposition. That's number one. Create visions and inspect expectation to your clients. Communicate the value proposition with your team. That is so valid. That is just so valid. When you create, what's the sense of you having value proposition if nobody else on your team knows what it is, right? Use marketing strategies that are in alignment with your promise. That is so true, because you want to get that out there. You want to get that value proposition out there. She said, be consistent across the board. Don't overpromise if you can't deliver. Girlfriend, yes. You are getting these nuggets. Yes. Lisa, which is our top contributor inside our Faith, Favor, and Finance group. If you're on YouTube, why are you on YouTube? Come on over into our group. So Lisa says, I offer money management first before I offer a product they may or may not afford. Yes. And she said, I offer money management first before I offer a product they may or may not afford. And that's so important, because when keep in mind, people are skeptical. People have been scammed, especially in the financial space, y'all. People have been scammed before. They're moving lightly, right? So because of that, especially in the financial space, people like to shop around. People like to make sure that they think that you're the one. So your value proposition, I'm gonna leave you with this VIP tip, need to speak without you even open your mouth. Your brand, listen up very clearly. This is your VIP tip. Your brand need to speak so loud of what your value proposition is without you even open your mouth. Someone need to be able to look at your company and say, this is what my company deliver. One of my biggest value proposition is I'm very high touch. I'm always in my client's inbox saying, hey, do this, change this. I don't think you should do that. Yeah, you should have done that. Hey, I missed your post. Hey, where did you go? Are you still on track to make your money? Where are we at here? I'm very high touch from the time they sign the agreement with me to the time they're coaching with me, right? So I'm very, very high touch when it comes to my financial coaching clients, right? Because I want to make sure my clients that most that I deal with is I'm dealing with their mindset. As a revenue coach, I'm dealing with their mindset, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And as financial coaches who are dealing with people's money and are dealing with people's time, it's very, very important that they be good steward of their own money and be good steward of transparent of who they truly are, so they can serve people at the biggest capacity. So we deal with any money blocks, we deal with any lack of belief system, we deal with that first. So what makes my business different from any other business or financial coaching business, I don't just stop at the money. I don't even start with the money. We come with their own money story first and break those down first. And then we go with a practical marketing strategy. Because if you're not able to work on yourself, how are you going to be able to work on people's money and finance? One of my coaches say you can't have a booming business and a busted life. It doesn't go together. Booming business, but a busted life. It won't go together. So I deal with a mindset of that financial coach first, of her own lack of belief system in getting clients and marketing her business, standing her authority, whatever that money blocks, whatever that blockage that's stopping her from getting her money, whatever that story that she tells herself that is stopping her from increasing her revenue. I deal with that first, because once your mindset is developed, so will your money. Somebody needed to hear that today. Once your mindset is developed, so will your money. So if you're wondering, why am I not further? Why am I not further ahead? It's your mindset first. And then when your mindset is developed, when you're using your spiritual principle, then you bring some practical marketing strategy with your spiritual principle, and then you can increase your revenue. Subconsciously, your revenue start increase because now you're walking in the spirit of awareness. But if you're just sitting there saying, why am I not helping people? Because I really think that financial coaching is a beautiful business. You're helping people in their credit repair. You're helping people with their money management. You're helping people in their accounting, save money and all this stuff. But however, who is helping you? Who's helping you making sure that you're not burned out? Who's helping you making sure that you're on track to make your revenue? And that's where I come in. I realized that was my value proposition. That was the area of my expertise, because most of the life insurance clients were calling, insurance company was calling me, hey, I need you to use your marketing talents over here. And when I get in, I realized it wasn't the marketing. It wasn't a marketing what they were lacking. It was a mindset issue, a money story from growing up that they were telling themselves. So when we're talking about value proposition, when we're talking about standing out, you also have to know your limit of where you can or cannot go, and the rules of where you can or cannot go, because you may be dealing with some stuff, right? I went into a group, y'all, and as a life coach, they were talking about some deep stuff. And I said, okay, of course, me being candid, I'm like, listen, I think y'all need therapists. I don't think y'all need a life coach. I think y'all need therapists. So they were doing some deep stuff, and I called the lady who invited me to the group. I said, listen, I thank y'all, and I thank y'all for listening and listen. But you have a group that are in here for mindset, but the trauma that they've been through. Shout out to Sinead Palmer. She's one of our therapists in here. The trauma that they've been through, they need therapy first before they need a life coach. So you'll be doing them a disservice. Integrity, value proposition, integrity. You'd be giving them a disservice, having them stay in this group and trying to heal from a trauma that you don't have the letters behind your name to be able to help, because emotional thing. Right? Life is an emotional thing, right? Every currency, money, all that is an emotion. You buy based on your emotions. So I just kind of had to encourage her and say, listen, you may want to encourage these people to say, go to a therapist first. Because there are just some things that, listen, I can't cast out. Right? So but now it's up to her to do the integrity and help these young ladies and get the therapist that they need. So understand too what a therapy will do versus what if you need a therapist versus if you need a life coach, if you need a money mindset coach, because the coach need a coach, right? Financial coaches or whoever, they need a coach, right? And I've stepped into that gap to be that person. So I want you to understand today that your value proposition will also get you indoors, will also generate your revenue, because you have a unique way of crafting what you do, and no one else is doing that in your field. So I ask you now that you have learned some of these tips, what are some value proposition in your business that makes you differ from everyone else? Stella said, VIP tip, your brand need to speak for itself. Once your mindset is developed, so is your money. Yes, that's true. Your brand need to speak for yourself. And I will end there. When I talk about your brand need to speak for itself, is what does your brand say? Your brand, your logo, your image, the conversation you have, what you post on social media. What is that? When I go down your timeline, ask somebody right now to go down your timeline, and when they look at your timeline, can they tell what you do just based on your timeline, on the things you post? Based on a thing, you know, the hardest thing is when I'm trying to find something to bless someone and I can't find a picture of them, because there's so many things that is shared on their timeline that has nothing to do with their value proposition, has nothing to do with their brand. But this is not, because keep in mind, your whole lifestyle, your personal lifestyle is a brand, right? So I got it that you're interested in all this stuff, but I need to be able in 5 minutes or less to look at your timeline, and your timeline will tell me who you are as a personal brand. So I want you to really do that self-check right now and ask someone to take a look at your Facebook page where you're supposed to be making your revenue, where people are going to come check you out. Here's my other VIP tip. Stella, you ready for this? No such thing as business cards anymore. I did a live on this inside of my other group. There's no such thing as business card. Your Facebook timeline is your new business card. Come on now, talk back to me. When someone say to you, hey, do you know Sherri? Or hey, do you know that girl? Or hey, do you know Tiffany? Or hey, do you know Stella? Hey, do you know Jacintia? Hey, do you know Lisa? Hey, do you know Monique? Hey, do you know Teresa? Whatever that name they call. The first thing we do is bust out our cell phones. And I said, girl, I don't know what she look like. And the first thing we do, we go right to that person's Facebook page. Do we not? Yes or no in the chat. Do we not? We go right to the, okay, how does she look? Let me see. Okay, how does she look? Okay. And so your Facebook page timeline has become your new business page. So your Facebook page has become your new business page. So people, listen, I have an agent that I used before and to get to for properties, and I'll never use her again, just based on some stuff that she posts. Okay. So your Facebook page is now your new business page. Lisa said, that's true. That is so true. Most people will check social media first. Yes, we do. I was in Miami at an insurance, doing a speech for some insurance agency, a marketing speech. And the first thing the lady was like, hey, do you know this lady who was a real estate agent? The first thing we did, we busted our phone. Now, I don't know her. Let me look her up, right? So we're not going to Google. We're not going to anywhere else. We either go to Facebook. Yes, Lisa, we either go to Facebook, IG. So how are you showing up? Can the person identify your value proposition based on your timeline? So this is a self-check that we need to clean up our timeline, right? If it's not in related to your brand, now brand may be your lifestyle. You may like great food, or you may like, so it's just who you are, because people are buying who you now. You know, you can't hide behind who you are anymore, and be on social media and stand out as the authority. It won't work, right? So people are buying. So I always tell people, okay, make no mistake, this is the side I'm on. Black lives does matter, right? This is the side I'm on, right? Make no mistakes. It's not no wishy-washy over here, right? So you'll find things on my timeline that tells you exactly who I am. So you know ahead of time, I do believe women run this world, right? I am pro-feminist. I am the alpha female. Yes, I believe women can be single and still boss up. I believe women can have men and still be boss up. I believe women can be married and still boss up. There's nothing beautiful than a woman telling her husband, baby, I got it this month. Baby, I got it this month. I am so for that. Pro that all day, right? Nothing wrong with women having a husband and also being successful at the same time. I am for all of that, baby. So with that being said, I want to see that on your timeline, not just me, but your ideal client. When someone tagged me in something and says, hey, they need my help in something, and they tag me, that person who's looking for that help, the first thing he or she does is go to my timeline to see who's this person that I'm going to spend money with. So can they find what I stand for? And all that is still your value proposition. Let's be very, very clear. That is still your value proposition, because that is still your promise of who you are. Are you showing results of what your clients have gotten successful, right? I know TLC, some people are into TLC weight loss product, and their value proposition is results. Right? All you see is before, after pictures. That's all you see. You're right. In TLC marketing, they market results. So you got to ask yourself, what is your value proposition? If I go to your timeline page right now, what am I going to see that tells me what you do? Tell me what your value proposition is, and does it tell people how you can help them? Those are the three things: what you do, what is your value proposition? In other words, what makes you different from other people that's doing what you're doing, right? And that does your timeline say how you can help them? May not be in detail, but what you help them, so what problem you help them solve, right? So this is going to be your homework. If you are in the space of and you have a business, your timeline is your brand. That's your new business card. So when we're talking about 3 ways to validate your value proposition, it's important that you no more business card, because we already know face-to-face marketing is not in right now, right? So now what's really in is your Facebook timeline, your Instagram timeline, your LinkedIn timeline. And it needs to look more as with your brand, and it needs to position, and it needs to match your message. Remember, I just said your message and your promise need to be in alignment. So if you are saying something, give an example. So your messaging is saying that you return calls within 24 hours, right? And then you're saying that but your brand says you're off on Monday through Friday or something like that. That doesn't go together, because your messaging and your promise that you say you can do is out of alignment. So Stella, who is our scribe today, shout out to the beautiful Stella. She says, no more business card. Your Facebook page is your new business card. Fact, yes. Audit your timeline and clean it up in order to reflect who you truly are. Yes, yes, yes. Honey, there are times I go on people's timeline, I'm like, oh no, she too hood. She ain't handling my money. She too hood. Oh, she was just in jail. And you talking about doing my taxes? Oh no. You know, so for tax fraud, and you come back out doing taxes. Oh Lord Jesus, a different story. That's a different story. No. I have to protect, and then you have to protect. It's not about you or judging. It's you have to protect your brand at all costs, right? We don't judge. You have to protect your brand at all. That means there's a mindset. Not saying that person can't do it. There's a mindset shift that has to occur first. Mindset, marketing, money. Mindset, marketing, money. We go over all this in our 2K revenue attraction factor. All right, guys. So I have a few minutes for some questions. What questions do you have in regards to validating your value proposition inside of the marketplace? How do you stand out? What questions do you have for me in regards to that? Go ahead and drop it in the chat right now before I proceed. Let me go ahead and see if I miss any at the top. See if I missed any at the top. Yes. Unique value message should be changed. Change the conversation. Correct. Oh yes, good point. So Stella said change the conversation. Let me talk about that. You may be in an industry where you feel like the market is saturated, or you feel like it has a bad rap. Right, it has a bad rap. People have made the industry seems like it's bad because of bad marketing, i.e., life insurance, i.e., financial coaching. Right, where somebody jump in your inbox and say, "Hey, I saw you post. Do you want to work with me?" Wrong. No. Right? Please don't do that. So make sure the person reach out to you first before you reach out to them. That's a different story. But that is up to you to transform that messaging of that industry based on how you post, based on your marketing, based on your target market. So you have the power. Thank you for that, Stella, changing the conversation. You have the power to change the conversation around the industry that you're in to give that industry more light. And I do that a lot when it comes to financial coaching. All right, let me go down here. No, I didn't see any questions, guys. So I'm excited for you. Oh, yeah, I see you say your timeline should reflect what you do, the problem you solve. Yes, mindset, marketing, money are all related. Yes, in that order. Right? In that order. Yeah, because your mindset is where you're going to keep going regardless of anyone's there, regardless how things are. You're going to keep going. All right, guys. So I appreciate you joining me on my faith, favor, and finance talk show every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully you get this information, apply the information, and create transformation. So go ahead and look at your timeline. That's your homework. And ask yourself, can someone know what I do and what problem I solve just from looking at my timeline? What is my value proposition of my timeline? Saying that, hey, if you're saying, Sherri, I need help with this, go ahead and DM me right now inside my box and we can go from there. I would love to help you create that personal brand, but starting with your mindset first and breaking those limited belief systems. Have an amazing day. Talk to y'all later. It's your girl, Sherri Somers, your revenue master life coach. Talk to y'all later.